Hello. I am so sorry that I had to keep postponing for 2 hours. What I initially scheduled this for 8:30, and just one thing after another. So I'm really happy to be on. I hope that you're happy to catch this. If you're on the replay crew, let me just text a couple of my mods because they were waiting patiently. And I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone's patience. I had to come on tonight because there's some insanely crazy stuff that I need to share. When I say crazy stuff, I mean my own ideas. And this is some of the most mind boggling that I've probably ever had in the true crime situation. And how's my lighting? How's my hair? How's the sound? Um, Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All of my videos are made for the tube of you and me. So let me just jump right into it after I do my typical routine stuff. Thumb, where are you? Where are you hiding, Thumb? There's not too many places Thumb could be. It's sort of like Thing from the Addams Family. Found Thumb. Thumb can live right there. I think I'm blocking my sign that says please subscribe and share a video of mine with someone you think would like my channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring if you want to be notified when I come on live. And thanks so much for being here. And thanks for hitting that like button. What else? Love will save the day. Ain't that the truth? Man. Oh, such simple words to live by. And then, of course, I have my tranquility Scrabble thing. And I did my disclaimer. So let's go. Let's talk some crazy talk. Which crazy should I start with? There's a new case in Columbus, Ohio that is extraordinarily sad. A 37-year-old dentist and his 39-year-old wife were gunned down in their residence. A couple of days ago, two small children were left untouched. It was a staged crime scene, and it's sort of indicating maybe somebody was having an affair, like maybe because of some of the clues that are available, and maybe they've been told things, I don't know, but that it was planned. It was planned. There was no forced entry, so it was somebody that they knew. It was, well, they were discovered in the morning. I don't know how long they'd been deceased for. Do I have a puppy dog who's gonna keep barking? Should I let Mookie in? Is she going away? Here. Mookie, come on in. Mookie. Mookie, are you coming? Come on here, baby. Come on. Okay. We got Mookie. We got Coco. We don't have the crazy little cheese ball. I don't think we could handle all three of them in here at once. They like to get rowdy. So that situation, Spencer and Monique Tepe, Tepe, is a case that might be, I think it's making national news, and it might be one that leaves us on pins and needles in true crime. I do not know. It's a little early to tell, but it's really sad, and especially for the kids, of course, but for the couple, for everybody who knew them. Let's see. Yesterday I said Brat Pack when I meant Rat Pack. You guys knew what I meant, right? Let me talk about the crazy thing. Okay. Turning Point USA. I did my walk today. I did my 2-hour walk. I kind of go into the zone, and it occurred to me on my walk, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Do you know terminology for turning tricks is turning out, right? That's what madams and pimps do with their dames. They turn them out. Turning Point has a special focus on young people, high schools and colleges. Could there be a possibility that Turning Point was an extension of the Trumpstein enterprises? And that it's like so in your face with a name like that, Turning Point, turning out. It's the point of turning them out. The amount of money going through Turning Point would indicate that I could possibly be onto something. I don't know. It's a question. It's certainly not an accusation. It is a valid question. So that was one of the crazy things. The other crazy thing is even crazier. Are you ready? I'd never thought about this. And it occurred to me maybe last night. First of all, I've always been curious who was president during the sweetheart deal. And I honestly didn't know. I couldn't put 2 and 2 together and figure out who was president in 2008 or when exactly the sweetheart deal was signed, sealed, and delivered. It was essentially July of 2008. So I've looked up all this stuff in the last 12 to 24 hours. That's when the sweetheart deal was signed. And it was Bush. You probably know that. George W. Isn't that the baby Bush, George W.? Just on a side note, I had a friend, I still have a friend who lives in Holland. And when she came back to visit during his presidency, she told me that people in Holland refer to their Bush as their George W. The ladies. So, sorry, I had to share. It's just too funny, is it not? It just became a thing. Refer to it as the George W. So back on to the track of that sweetheart deal, July 2008. Remember what happened in 2008? I mean, I'll never forget because it was a big deal to me. I was at the bank. I was at Washington Mutual speaking with the bank manager, and she burst out in tears. And I don't know what the date was, but she had just found out that morning that everything was collapsing. And it was sometime in 2008, right? We call it the 2008 collapse. But while I was looking for the date of when it collapsed, when our economy collapsed, I found that officially, the official narrative is December of 2007 is when it started. But that was declared in November of 2008. And then they said that it resolved sometime in 2009. Let's see. And of course, Obama was president at 2009 to 2017. Let's see. Oh, how convenient. The economic crash was officially over June of 2009. Very, very interesting. I think that the height of the 2008, according to AI, and probably according to most of our memories, the height of the economic collapse was fall of 2008. So how does this coincide with the topic that I'm always talking about these days, the Trumpstein files? The sweetheart deal was finalized. I said July. I'm sorry, I correct myself. On June 30th of 2008. Little E lost 150 million in the economic crisis. 150 million. So while the economic crash was happening, he gets his sweetheart deal finalized June 30th. Again, I said July earlier. Sorry, I misremembered that. And he got sentenced to 18 months in jail. And then I think I was going to read it to you. Yeah, didn't I write that down? I think I wrote down that I should read it to you. What AI said. Let me see. There were a couple of things I was thinking of reading to you, but I don't want to be on too long since I came on so late. And thank you for being here or being on the replay crew. So 2008 sweetheart deal. And I've always said to myself that whoever was president when that happened, when that was signed, sealed, and delivered, has a lot to answer to. You know, I didn't care who it was. I didn't care if it was Obama or Clinton or whoever, but it was the George W. So, do you want me to read you the Wikipedia or the AI overview or both? Let me see how long the Wikipedia is. I'll do the AI. The term sweetheart deal refers to the controversial 2008 non-prosecution agreement, NPA, negotiated by then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta. He was the Florida Attorney General. And I don't know what Pam Bondi's job was at that point in time, but she was not the Florida Attorney General until 2011. A lot of people confuse that she was the Attorney General during that time. She was not. It was Alexander Acosta. However, she may have worked for the Attorney General. She might have been an assistant to the Attorney General. She might have been an Attorney General. That's something I keep meaning to look up. Anyway, Alexander Acosta obviously, Bigly Piggly tied himself directly to Alexander Acosta when he appointed him to be his Secretary of Labor in 2017. Or was it 2018? I think it was 2018, because then he had to resign just after about 12 months or so when little E was arrested. He immediately resigned. It might have taken like a year to get him confirmed, because I think his confirmation was the most difficult one, even worse than like Hegseth. So it could be that it took a whole year, that they tried to appoint him in 2017 and then it took until 2018. But anyway, on with the show here. So, and I hate it when they call Jeffrey little E a financier. Let's just call him a perv. Let's just call him a criminal pedo, right? So Acosta with E in Florida, allowing E to avoid federal SMEX trafficking charges by pleading guilty to lesser state charges, a deal later widely criticized for being too lenient and kept secret from victims, becoming a major scandal years later. This should be prosecuted, in my opinion, in our current administration. This should absolutely be prosecuted. Everybody who signed, sealed, and delivered. So the victims, especially the one that I put in the thumbnail, she's one of the more recent to come out and identify herself publicly with her face and her name. And she had her lawyers speak for her on the courthouse steps this last fall when they, or was it winter? It was towards the end of fall or the beginning of winter when they were on the courthouse steps, pleading to Congress to take them seriously. So she was still timid and had her lawyer speak for her. And probably one of the reasons she might be timid is because she might not be a citizen. She's from Uzbekistan, I think is how you say it. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. And she was lured by fraudulent modeling contracts, 13 years old. And her life was destroyed. 13 years old. And it, most importantly, it happened in 2009. So little E got sentenced to 18 months in his little pretend jail. And then he got his 12-hour work release. He was doing his abuse while he was in his jail. And then he got released early. He got released after 13 months. He didn't even have to serve 18 months. I think maybe they made him wear an ankle bracelet to monitor him for the last 5 months, and that was a joke. He did whatever he wanted to do. He went wherever he wanted to go. But some key details of the 2008 deal. Non-prosecution agreement that essentially let little E escape federal charges for sex trafficking minors, 40 of them. And all Alexander Acosta said is that there was no credible witnesses. Rat bastard. In exchange for pleading guilty to state prostitution charges. Prostitution charges, not sex abuse. Prostitution. Not PDF files, PDO. It's tricky to say it so it doesn't get flagged in the algorithm. My video yesterday did get flagged from playing Eye on the Sparrow. It said something like, not viable for monetization, which is fine. That doesn't matter to me, but I just thought it was funny for 23 seconds of Sammy Davis Jr. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. So yeah, this is my crazy theory, is that the banks that were involved with little E and the scandal are the same banks that collapsed our economy. Coincidence? Or were they trying to create a mass distraction from the global transporting scandal worldwide, involving world leaders, involving a prince, involving presidents, prime ministers? Could it be that was to distract people from looking at a scandal in Florida? Because we all probably heard about it when it happened, no matter how little news we watched, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I remember when they were searching for Ghislaine in 2020, right? They started searching for her in 2019, I think right after E got Epstein. And I remember wondering why that was such a big deal. I think they had to search for her for over a year before they found her. It was because she put tinfoil over her cell phone. That's why they couldn't find her. I'm sure. My guess is that they could have found her more quickly if they really wanted to. Anyway, could that be? Is that a stretch? Is that a crazy conspiracy theory or what? And then now, what are they trying to do? Like a whole global economic collapse to once again distract from the collapse of our government and other governments with the 5 million pages of Trumpstein files? Could it be? Could it be? It's just some really dark stuff. Who was involved? Negotiated by Acosta. And let me mention his wife and his two small daughters, his young daughters, during the time that this happened. His daughters were probably about like 7 and 10 ish, somewhere in there. And his wife, she's pretty scary looking. You can check her out. Why is controversial? The secrecy. The deal was kept secret from Epstein's victims. Yeah, that's one reason. Was in clear violation of the law, and they never apologized for that. They just kind of did an oopsie. Oh, oops, we forgot. Leniency. Critics argued it was unusually lenient, allowing E to avoid significant federal penalties. Violation claims. It was later challenged in court for allegedly violating the Crime Victims' Rights Act. So, yeah. E's estate got sued, and probably all of those 40 victims got paid off. I'm not sure. Maybe some of them refused payment so that they could continue leveraging justice. Sometimes the money talks, and sometimes you think that's all the justice you're going to get anyway. A lot of times people need the cash, right? Impact. The deal became a major scandal, leading to Acosta's resignation as U.S. Labor Secretary in 2019 and serving as a defense in Ghislaine Maxwell's subsequent trial. I did not realize Acosta was part of her defense team. Holy crap. This is why I like coming live. I always learn something new. Yeah, that's crazy. Let's see. Where was Pam Bondi? Pamela Blondie, Pam Bondi in 2008. I know she did a lot of work for Qatar. I think she got paid like $150,000 a month for the work she did with them. She worked with them for a long time. The Pam Bondi rabbit hole. So, yeah, she was the Florida Attorney General from 2011 to 2019. But what was she doing before that? Let's see. I knew she was raised in Tampa. She had her fake wedding. She's been married 2 times officially and then a 3rd time unofficially. Let's see. Here it says she served as an assistant state attorney in Hillsborough County, Florida, from 94 to 09. Hillsborough County, Florida. Okay, in 2010, she was elected Attorney General, first woman to serve in that position. Re-elected in 2014. And then for a couple of years before she was appointed. Well, it's interesting. It says in 2020, Bondi was one of DJT's defense lawyers during his first impeachment trial. So she was his defense attorney at the same time that she was working for Qatar for $150,000 a month salary. It makes more sense why they gave him that gazillion-dollar airplane, doesn't it? And yeah, she was our consolation prize for Matt Gaetz getting withdrawing himself from the nomination that Trump had made for him for the Attorney General's office. She's not much better than him, really, in my opinion. So this transporting ring has been under an exhaustive investigation for the majority of the past roughly 20 years. So, of course, they have 5 million pages of crap that they need to redact. And how long is it going to take for them to redact it? Like, ever? It's a lot of pages. All that needs to be redacted is the victims' names. You would think it wouldn't be that hard to have artificial intelligence go in there and redact all the victims' names. Of course, they want to redact DJT's name, and of course, they want to redact his friends' names. Friends is in air quotes, you know that. So they probably don't know all the names that are in there, which is why they're doing it manually instead of just doing it by AI. But it's really not legal for them to do that. It's only legal for them to redact the victims and anything that might be like a threat to the national security. So I'm sure that that's what they'll say about any of the perps that they redact. Oh, it's a threat to national security. Yep, yeah, it is. Sure. Okay. Let's talk about the Erica Kirk grift. Remember when she had her little faux pas last week where she introduced a new grifter, and she said that he had a grift or something, that you have the same grift as Charlie. She's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean grift, I meant gift. But then I think she said it again after apologizing. And she's like, oh, it's just been such a long day. And it's just like, really? Okay. But funny how the truth comes out. So she knows she's a grifter. But, you know, the truth wants to come out. We all want to tell the truth. That's why when we don't tell the truth, we get nervous, we get sweaty, we might get like a tick in our eye. The truth wants to be told. Every cell in our body wants to tell the truth. Maybe if we're stone cold sociopathic, that's not true, but I don't know. I don't think that there's been research to determine if that is the case or not. But Nicki Minaj sitting there with Erica Kirk again last week. You know, she lost 10 million followers right after that. And then she deleted her entire Instagram account. And she had like almost 230 million followers, allegedly. Of course, a bunch of them could have been Russian bots. But Nicki Minaj is not only not a citizen, not an American citizen. You know, she was sitting there talking to Erica, sucking up to Trump and J.D. Vance. Not only is she deportable, she's also married to a registered sex offender. Then come to find out that her brother is in prison. I want to say a 35-year sentence for raping an 11-year-old. So when she was talking about how handsome Trump was and what a hot assassin Vance was, and again, that could have been a Freudian slip too. I've never really considered Vance as being involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I've considered his boss. I've considered Bibi. I've considered Vladdy. I've considered the staff at Turning Point, the security at Turning Point, of course, his wife. Never really thought about Vance. You know, he's just kind of milquetoast. You know, he's just there. But then he was there transporting the remains with Erica and his wife. So it was interesting that Nikki called him the assassin, Vance the assassin, or something like that. And I guess that's like a compliment, saying that a guy is hot, that he's an assassin, like dressed to kill or something. But yeah, was it a Freudian slip? Was there more to that? Anyway, it seems that she's working her way towards maybe a pardon request for her brother. Yeah, 35-year sentence. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So was Vance involved in the assassination? I mean, it seems pretty obvious that he would be, if all of the rest of the crew that I have been suspicious of is involved. So Erica is just like surfacing everywhere, isn't she? She's just like, wherever you look, there she is. So she's getting a lot of hosting gigs. I guess that Turning Point event where she was talking with Nicki Minaj, that was funded by the people that own Oracle, those douchebags. Blanking on their name right now. I know their name. The dad's name is Larry. Oracle owner. It just bothers me when my brain goes dead, which is always the risk when I come on so late. Oracle owner. Larry Ellison. See, I knew that because I know somebody with that last name, Ellison. Man, he's got one heck of an ugly mug. Let me see if you can see this. I forgot how crazy looking he is. I mean, he looks like a plastic surgery nightmare gone wrong, in my humble opinion. He kind of looks like an evil cartoon, too, with that little, what do you call that, like the poet's goatee. Ew, he's gross. Let's see, go back. 81 years old. Net worth, $245 billion. So his two sons, the Ellison boys, who are they? David Ellison, and then maybe whoever his daughter married, Megan Ellison. I thought that he was leaving the company to his two sons, that they were pretty much the ones in charge these days. But maybe it's him and his son that are in charge these days. Let me ask. Who's in charge? Who's responsible? Who's responsible for CBS, let's say? Because they're the ones who put that Barry, and I know her name too. The weirdo that interviewed Erica Kirk. David Ellison and Barry Weiss. So also, about a month or two ago, I had heard that DJT wanted to give Erica Kirk the job of supervising all of the quote unquote news. Does that sound like a disaster or what? That sounds like a nightmare to me. So David Ellison and Barry Weiss are the two that are in charge of CBS. And, they can try to do all the manipulating that they want. Things seem to be falling flat. Like that interview that Barry did with Erica, I don't think went anywhere close to where they were hoping it would go with popularity, with viewers, with audience acceptance. There was none of that. It completely flatlined. It was just pretty much a waste of time. I guess this Barry Weiss is like a billionaire's kid who maybe she was married and maybe she was married to a man and now she's married to a female, it sounds like. But she's ultra conservative. And that's why they put her in that position. And she's not really a journalist. She's not really a news journalist. So it's really hard for the people that are part of CBS News or investigative journalism to have her as a boss because she doesn't really know anything. Allegedly. That's just what I've heard. Word on the streets. It's just devastating how Barry Weiss, new editor-in-chief of CBS, after Paramount buys her website. And maybe I'm ignorant, but I just don't understand how the country that starts with the letter I is so big and powerful, like all powerful, and all the problems that stem from there. Bibi seems to be maybe more in control of global forces than anyone else. It seems to me that he could be Daddy Vladdy's puppet master, basically. Certainly, Biggly Piggly is just a puppet. And initially, I thought that Vladdy was his puppet master, but it appears that it is Bibi. And, you know, why Bibi keeps sticking his nose in American politics is just beyond me. Beyond me. Like, he should just back off. He should have nothing to do with it, but yet he has everything to do with it. So maybe I'll wrap up because there's nobody in my chat and I've been on for 37 minutes and it's almost 11:30. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Let me just look at my notes real quick, see if there's anything else that I wanted to be sure to say. So those are my two big conspiracy theories, that the economic crisis of 2008 was a scandal to distract from the Trumpstein or the E situation the first time around with the sweetheart deal. How the dates coincide is just uncanny, and timing is everything. And then yeah, and then little E victims still are coming out of the woodwork. There's about 1,200 that they know of identified in the Trumpstein files. I don't think anywhere close to that many have identified themselves. And that has got to be a very scary process for all the victims, regardless of where they're at in that process, but especially if they have maybe not even identified in their own psyche that they were victims. Like we've heard those stories from some of the victims that they thought that they were there consensually. They didn't realize that being underage, there's no such thing. And, you know, a lot of times people are in denial about being abused. The denial is not just a river in Egypt, and it takes all forms. So people block it out, people rationalize. Um, yeah. What else? And then the other big potential revelation is the idea that Turning Point is turning out, and that's why they're so hyper focused on high schools and colleges. And wouldn't that make perfect sense if Erica France was doing the transporting in Romania with the Romanian Angels? In that was like prior to 09. You know, she won that teen Miss Arizona pageant in 07. She probably won it at the end of 06, but she won the title for the year of 07. But that's been scrubbed from the internet almost entirely. But I have found 3 very specific confirmations. One of the most convincing, her freaking yearbook when she was still in high school, that has her as the 2007 Miss Arizona Beauty Queen pageant winner. Oops. So, and then she graduated that year, 07, and then 09 was when she was in the pageant competition with Lindsay Halligan, and her and Lindsay both placed 3rd and 4th in that Miss Colorado beauty pageant. And then here they are surrounding Trump and his scandals. Isn't that a quinky dink? Coincidence? So Lindsay Halligan and Erica, they both graduated high school in 07. They both went to Regis, I think it's called Regis University in Denver. And it's a school that is heavily infiltrated with the Christian nationalism and the Heritage Foundation type of stuff. So, note to self, right? So Lindsay Halligan graduated from there with her bachelor's degree before she went to law school. Erica Kirk, however, moved back to Arizona, and then she won that Miss Arizona title in 2012 that she does admit to. She doesn't admit to the 017 one. So it's really been fascinating to me to find that information and to find cross confirmation. So one of the cross confirmations is a post on like Instagram or something from the person who helped her with her shoes as a teen and took a picture and put up a post like the same day. And I think I have that in my community posts. I'm glad I brought up community posts too, because I put up a really good one a couple days ago, and I really want you guys to check it out. It's a 3-minute video that Boston Brian made about a year ago that aged extraordinarily well. It is some of the most vile ideas coming out of the mouth of Erica Kirk's husband, coming out of his mouth with his home fries and the things that they're saying. And Boston Brian does a really good job interjecting like, oh man, that's awful. It just can't get any worse than that. Or can it? And then he plays a little bit more and is like, oh my God, it gets worse. Well, definitely it doesn't get worse than that because it couldn't possibly, but wait, let's listen. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Essentially what they're saying is that they believe that not only should there be public executions of political opponents, that the public executions should be by guillotine, should be televised, and that children should be forced to watch in person. Like literally, these are words from Charlie's mouth. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you like being sarcastic and just trying to be the worst nightmare imaginable? Or are you just the worst nightmare imaginable? I mean, I knew some of the other vile crap that came out of his mouth, but I didn't know about that. So Boston Brian posted that over a year ago, and I found it in my feed, and I was just like blown away. And so I put it on my community posts, and I think you should watch it. That's what I think. So yeah, turning point could be code for turning out, because the best place to hide things is in plain sight. And if it wasn't for the hiding things, there wouldn't be so much reason to be suspicious. Like, why would Erica Kirk be trying to hide, and not just Erica, but everybody? Why would they be trying to hide the fact that she won a teen beauty pageant for Miss Arizona that was connected to Miss Teen USA that the Bigly Piggly owned? Why would that be scrubbed from the internet? Why wouldn't they brag about that and say, man, she won Miss Teen when she was still in high school, when she was a senior, and then she went on to win the other one when she was like 23. Oh, man. But again, when they scrub things, that's evidence that they're trying to obfuscate. They're trying to cover up. So what is it? Why would they be trying to cover that up? So in the event that Erica went from teen beauty queen to the Romanian angel thing that she was like running when she was a teenager still, I think she started the Romanian Angels before she won the title of the 07. I want to say the Romanian Angels started in 06, but let me see what artificial intelligence might tell me, if it has a clue, and if it's going to be honest, and if it's not going to be confused. But so it would make perfect sense for her to quote unquote interview with Charlie to work at Turning Point if Turning Point has the same type of interests as Romanian Angels allegedly had. Romanian Angels, and they all got the boot. They all got banned, you know. Romanian Angels Ministries. Oh, and if you look online, it says, no, she's not been banned from Romania, but she was, in my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. Romanian Angels, Erica involved years. It's so funny because all the denials come up right away. So yeah, in 2006, Erica Kirk founded the nonprofit Everyday Heroes Like You. So she would have been either a junior in high school or the beginning of her senior year in high school, which launched the Romanian Angels Project. So she did that while she was in high school. The program primarily supported the Antonio Placement Center, an orphanage in Constanta, Romania, who partnered with the U.S. Marine Corps for gift drives. Viral allegations, social media rumors allege that charity was a front for child transporting or illegal adoptions, and that she was banned. These claims gained traction after her husband, his tragedy. So these were already claims before that. But there's no evidence to support these claims. None whatsoever. But yeah, she was still in high school and she was doing all that. I think she was like a millionaire before she was 19 on her own. Girl, self-made millionaire, pulled herself up by her booty straps. Booty being the key word. She's just a liar. She's just a liar. So she was, I think, 36. Did she just turn 37? Oh, I think she just turned 37 this past November 20th. Sadly, I know her birthday. I'm pretty sure it was 1988, November 20th. I know it was November 20th, but anyway, so she didn't get married until she was in her early 30s. And, you know, being a beauty queen and being a trad wife, what was she doing with her time? What, she couldn't find a man? So she was doing exactly what she tells women not to do, you know, putting off starting a family and leaving your destiny up to the person that you marry. Absolutely absurd. Hypocritical. Absolutely hypocritical. And still to this day, she's still being a hypocrite. You know, she talks about her trad wife values, and does she see her kids too often? I don't know. Patricia, what's up, girl? Oh, shucks. I missed a lot of the live. We'll do replay later, but I'm here now. Hi, y'all. Thank you so much for saying hi. Here you are, the first one, and it's almost midnight. And yeah, I've been on for almost an hour, but you know, I totally screwed up. Like I scheduled this for 8:30, and then I'll confess, I went to an after Christmas sale, and I kind of lost my mind, and I fell into a time warp, and I got so much amazing stuff. I can't even tell you. Like, is this one of my receipts? This is one of the receipts. Just one of the receipts. So does it say how many items there are on here? It's about 30 items. It was great. It was $1 sale. Amazing. So, but I got more than that. I got more than the 30 on that receipt. I have another receipt too, I must confess. So anyway, it got really close to 8:30 before I knew it. And so I had to keep pushing the time back. And then my wax on my braces was all messed up. And so I decided to take it off and restart the whole process. And so while I had it off, I was like, well, I might as well eat something so I don't get hungry during my live and I don't need to deal with it later. It's all good. Time warps are fun. It's 8:40 here. Oh, right. You're on the West Coast. So yeah, I'm just trying to apologize to anybody that was really annoyed with me for pushing the time back so many times. Because I know I get annoyed with me for doing that. And I scheduled this live this morning. I try not to schedule them in advance for that very reason. I try just to put it up a few minutes before I'm ready to go live, because even then I still have a habit of pushing it back as I'm like trying to get the lighting right and make sure my hair is not too awful and that everything else is working. And I have my notes, because sometimes I lose my notes, sometimes I lose my phones, I lose my water, I lose everything. So I got to get it all in one spot. And then I try to text a couple of my mods so that they know that I'm on. And, you know, I'd be happy to text you, Patricia, if you want. You could email me your digits if you want. Don't feel at all obligated. It's not required. And when I do text my mods, of course, it's like completely up to them whether they're available or in the mood or whatever. No expectations. So let me tell you the big flashbang. Because, you know, I don't really present my material with a lot of flashbang. I'm just kind of very like Eeyore about it. Turning Point USA could be called Turning Point because they're turning out. Could be. It's a question that came to me while I was kind of in my zone, while I was taking a nice long walk in the super cold weather. It was like less than 30. It was cold. I was bundled up, but still, it was cold. But that, you know, that's one of the reasons why I really like to do things like that. Is it just helps me unwind. Like I used to swim a lot, and I would always have like epiphanies while swimming. And sometimes I get those epiphanies while gardening. Sometimes I get them while walking. So the other big epiphany was realizing, looking up the time frames of the '08 economic crash and the '08 sweetheart deal, and seeing that they synchronize right up. And not only do they synchronize right up, but then intentionally the official narrative was that they didn't. So, they both happened around, in or around the summer of '08. And in the fall of '08, the officials documented that the economic crash started December of '07. So, so then they don't even have to say '08. So that's why there's always been that confusion. Like, is it the '07 economic crash, or is it the '08 economic crash? And then it continued into '09, and '09 was when little E was released after 13 months from his flimsy 18-month sentence of nothing. Yes, please text me. I'll email you my information. I have a couple of home videos of opening your gift. Yeah, you said that I really want to send to you. Too long to email for some reason. Oh, yeah, so maybe you could text them to me. I would love to watch that. That'd be cute. You're so funny that you did like the unboxing, right? Isn't that what they call that? The unboxing video. It's a thing. Yeah, I was thinking with my going to the after Christmas sale that it was like, sometimes you see those, like, what do they call them? Shopping hauls, HAULS. And yeah, I could show you all the great things that I got. I got some really cool clothes and shoes and hats. I don't think I have the hats in here. But yeah, I picked up a handful of baseball caps. The only problem with the baseball caps is then they like shade my eyes. So I'm just going to have to go get bangs cut again so I can try to not worry about my darn forehead. But the camera just does weird things with your hair. I think when I had that super expensive gaming laptop, that it didn't make my hair look like sticks and twigs all the time. But for some reason, the camera really screws up, not just my hair, but you'll notice like everybody's hair. That's why pretty much everybody wears baseball caps when they're on live or when they're making their videos, whether they're live or not. So anyway, I'm doing the Tim Pool hat, right? Yeah, I would love to see your videos, Patricia. That'd be awesome. So yeah, I mean, those were the big things to talk about, stupid ass conspiracies and the covering up. And, the best place to cover things up is to hide them in plain sight, right? Smack in broad daylight. Because then it's like so in your face, you can't see the forest through the trees. I have an 8 head as well, but I have embraced it. That's cute. Well, I'll see in your video, right? I'll see your 8 head. Yeah, very cute. It's because we have all those brains. We've got such big brains. Oh, and I guess speaking of brains and good brains, Big Lee Brain, I guess he got another MRI or something. Like, I think that's like news today. I haven't been paying attention to the news because, I was busy shopping. But, and sometimes I do watch videos while I shop, but I was like so in the zone, I forgot to even do it to watch a video while I was shopping. I didn't think I'd be there that long. I was like, oh, I'm just going to get a couple of things, and then one thing leads to another. It's a slippery slope. And what was I saying about the Bigly Piggly? I guess he's been like sharding bricks today. like I think he's in really big trouble. Like the whole Jack Smith deposition. Oh, and Kyle from Secular Talk, he did a really good breakdown of it today. A really good breakdown. And he had a great suggestion that if you want to watch the 8-hour deposition of Jack Smith, watch it on time and a half, and then it's not going to take 8 hours. Sometimes it's easy to watch things a little fast, like 1.25 or 1.5, depending on the rate that people speak at. But some people like me or like Shan, we can speak a little too fast, that if you have us on even 1.25, it might sound like we're on double speed. And for me, if I try to listen to something on double speed, I cannot absorb it. It's just going too fast. I used to do it and I wouldn't absorb anything. So I gave up on that. But 1.25, I can definitely do. But it's annoying. I mean, I like to just chill and let people talk at their own rate. Unless they're like annoyingly slow, then yeah, I want to put them on a little bit fast. But that hardly ever happens. No, I don't show my face in the videos. LOL. Next time for sure. It's only fair. I don't want to be one-sided. I see you, but you can't see me. No, it's cool. There's no obligation, girlfriend. I mean, I'm happy that you're here. No pressure, none whatsoever. Totally up to you. And yeah, so did I finish that thought? Did I? I should probably just wrap up because my brain is starting to melt, because it's a 11:45 and at midnight I will turn into a pumpkin. Oh, I've been on for an hour, 1 minute and 11 seconds. So, there you go. The magic angel time. So yeah, it just sucks being gaslit and not being able to see what's going on when it's right in front of you. Like how come, I think that lately I'd been kind of thinking, like maybe just for a few days, like, oh, the '08 economic crisis and the '08 sweetheart deal. But with the sweetheart deal, it gets confusing because, like, did it start in '06, '07, '08? I mean, and also with the economic crisis, it gets confusing because they want to call it the '07 crisis, economic collapse, when it was really the '08 economic collapse. But they don't want you to put the two and two together. But it's the same banks that were funding little e, the same banks that bottomed out and caused the economic collapse, Patricia. So it makes me think that they were trying to distract with the financial crisis to have people not be looking at the SMEX crimes with children that the bankers are involved in, allegedly. So, all right. Bye, Jazzy. I'll start on the replay. I'll wait until you sign off, of course. Yeah. Well, I will sign off. So that was the big one. Like, that was the big one. It really wasn't until the last 24 hours that I started to look up, because I didn't know, like, can you look up the date of when the economic collapse started? I didn't even know that was a thing. And then looking up the date of when they signed the sweetheart deal. And it all synchronizes right up. They signed the sweetheart deal June 30th of '08, and it was right around then that the economic collapse happened. But in November of '08, somebody officially identified December of '07 as the start date. And it continued into '09. Right around the same time that little E was dismissed early from his 18-month slap on the wrist punishment. He was put on home arrest after 13 months. So it was a total joke. And it was around that same time that the economic crisis ended. Coincidence, I'm sure. And Turning Point USA, I'm sure, isn't turning anybody out. And they just love kids and young college kids because, they just love kids. You always got to wonder. All right. We haven't talked about Rob Reiner at all. That's just so heartbreaking. But Patricia, I did start the video talking about a couple in Columbus that was found having been hit with projectiles from a firearm in their home. Columbus couple, a dentist, 37 years old, and his wife, 39 years old. Spencer and Monique Tepe, and it was a double homicide. It was not like domestic violence. I mean, it kind of could have been, because it could have been that somebody was having an affair, and that if it was related to that, then I would call that domestic violence. And so much of crime is domestic violence. It's crazy how much crime is domestic violence. Like, it is not something to take lightly. I mean, the Rob Reiner, Michelle Singer Reiner double homicide is domestic violence too. Absolutely tragic and terrifying. But, while I'm bringing that up, and in my last live yesterday, I was talking about the Kennedy granddaughter and how Biggly Piggly made rancid posts about her passing away, just like he made the most rancid post about Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner passing away. And you just don't do that. But I wonder if that's hiding in plain sight too, by posting and making these hideous, outrageous posts that he knows are going to distract people from the Trumpstein files, but also maybe they'll distract people's brains from wondering if he had anything to do with it. Because he easily could have had something to do with both of those. I mean, the type of cancer that the Kennedy granddaughter had, she had a cool name. What was her name? And it's always nice to name people rather than have them be nameless. But she has a really cool name. Kennedy granddaughter. Tatiana. I love that name. There was a really good perfume called Tatiana back in the 80s. Do you know it? Like Ani Ani. That was another really good perfume from back in the 90s. 80s. Ani Ani and Tatiana. I have some Tatiana. I want to find some Ani Ani. I miss that. Anyway, Tatiana Schlossberg, the type of cancer that she had is something that you can acquire it from poison, from absorbing hazardous chemicals through your skin or breathing them. So there's a possibility that she could have been intentionally poisoned by political enemies, right? And then with Rob and Michelle, my crazy theory about a Charles Manson, MK Ultra, Jacob's Ladder type of mind effery that could have been radicalizing Nick and activating him to do something like that. And again, the timing, to have another Kennedy pass away right as the Trumpstein files are hitting the streets, to have this beautiful, beloved Hollywood couple unalived by their freaking kid in their beautiful home on the first day of Hanukkah. And I think it was 4 days before the Trumpstein files, 5 days before the Trumpstein file deadline, because it happened on Sunday, the 14th, and the deadline was the 19th. And timing is your best evidence. Could be a coincidence. So, yeah, I will sign off now. All right, dear, I love you. And yeah, no hurry on the email whenever you get to it. Happy New Year, and thanks again for coming in and talking to me. So lovely to see you always. And all right, drink your water. Take care, Patricia.